Hey, good morning, peace and love, and welcome to the Peace in the Morning Show. Kick it. Ow. What's happening, everybody? How y'all doing? So glad to see you this morning. Come on in. This is the Peace in the Morning Show with Darius A. Stanton and our good brother DJ Five Stars on the road right now. He's out in Kentucky getting ready to light it up. That's right, light it up. Not tear it up, not mash it up, not cram it up, not jam it up, but light it up, right? You know, we push positive news and information. And so today, we are joined by a very special guest who is going to be with us on a regular basis. That's right. You'll be able to see her at least once a month, monthly here on the Peace in the Morning Show. This queen is a coach, life coach certified. She's also a mental health certified first aider. She also is the founder of Soul Check LLC, and just a beautiful spirit. You know, this queen has just been a delight to the work that we've been doing in stopping the violence in our communities. She's working as a campaign coordinator. Not exactly sure of the title, but she's definitely working with Dave Brogan for sheriff. And she's a poet, and she's gonna do a little poetry with us today as well. So as we bring her on and listen to a little more of Queen Sudabe's music blow by, we're gonna get ready, get everybody in here, share the show, because today we are going to talk about people who are making Black history right now. That's right, and somebody very special. I know you heard of Rosa Parks, but have you ever heard of Miss Claudette Colvin? Well, listen up. She'll be right with us. We have a special interview done by Mr. Samuel Jordan and the Baltimore Transit Equity Coalition about an icon that most people really don't know. Her name is Miss Claudette Colvin. When we come right with you, we'll be right with you on the Peace in the Morning Show. Yeah, that's right. Now it's time for the queen herself, ladies and gentlemen. Miss Priscilla Monroe. What's up, Queen? Peace
Good
in the
morning.
morning. How you feel this morning?
I'm feeling awesome. How are you feeling?
I'm all pumped up and ready to go. Pumped up and ready to go.
Yay. And let me get you back on my screen because guess what? You disappeared for a second. We're going to bring you back. There we
There we
are.
go.
There we are.
Ta-da!
Yay.
Live and direct in full effect. So it's so good to have you always, Queen, to be with us. Thank you for joining us again on the Peace in the Morning Show.
You know what? It's an honor. And we're going to slow it down just for a second because I always believe in when you enter in someone else's room, as I am on the none other than Darius A. Stanton show, Peace in the Morning on Fridays. I want to say thank you for your work that you are doing. Thank you for the work that you have done in the past that I don't even know about. But most importantly, thank you for being a trailblazer. You are a man that will not give up. I've seen you on the front line, and I know we will continue to work together again. So thank you for all that you are doing and for having me on your show. I'm just happy to be sitting in the seat I'm in.
Well, we're so excited. I was began to sing, right? Because you know I sing in a minute. And what we did
So do
do,
I.
we did interject and reintroduce, I should say. We reintroduced um, freestyle, Funky Friday, freestyle, Funky Friday, freestyle, Funky Friday, which means that we are now doing poetry, open mic, freestyling, hip hop, rap, you name it. You might get a song on Friday. And that's one of the reasons why we brought this queen on this morning, because she is making history and she's got a poem for us today. And so that's going to be coming up shortly. But we are definitely back to Funky Friday and the freestyle movement because we got to keep the creativity flowing and we got to keep you in the know. And that's right, to make sure that everything we do is sure enough showing up for you to make you have a funky Friday on the Peace in the Morning show. So is that all right, Queen?
Oh, it's more than all right. Let's go. Let's
No
go.
doubt about it. We're excited. So our good brother DJ Five Star is out making moves as usual. The brother is now in let's see what this area is. He's out in Kentucky. The brother is in Kentucky right now and doing just how he does powerful work. He's out in Kentucky doing a project with the Black Excellence, and they're doing a whole event to bring awareness to Black business, Black excellence for Black History Month in Kentucky. So that's where our good brother is today. So shout out, or we want to acknowledge, as we say, our good brother DJ Five Star for the work that
Yeah.
he's doing in the community. Last weekend, we were jumping in the weekend before in Kansas and doing the Valentine's Day weekend. And now he's out in Kentucky. So he's working them K's, in the Midwest. DJ Five Star doing it with Five Star Enterprises. So we want to acknowledge him for what he's doing. Uh, so we definitely are excited about that and look forward to having him next week to make sure that we bring it all the way live. That's right, all the way live with our good brother. Now, I want to do something that we started doing when we first brought the Peace of the Morning show to the airways, and that was to make sure that we provided good news. Because normally when you watch television and you see the news, it's all about the negative stories. And right now, unfortunately, we have another war that's taking place. People are being killed by virtue of the fact, I think it was 160, they reported bombs that were dropped on Ukraine last night. Just think of that, 160 bombs. But also, right here in our own state of Maryland, Baltimore City continues to be plagued by violence. Prince George's County, as well as Anne Arundel County. The city of Annapolis had two young people under 15 years old shot this past weekend. Another community the same day had 61 bullets retrieved by the police, casings, and just a series of violence. Windows being shot out at cars. In another community, bullets in the home with babies, in their rooms. So this is a very, very challenging time in terms of the violence that's taking place in our schools, in our communities. So we want to make sure that we also provide you with, the positive stories, like what's going on positively in our community. And one of those things is there is a dad. Now this is a great story, Priscilla. This dad created a gift for his 13-year-old daughter. I mean, can you even think back to like your 13th birthday? Does that come to mind for you? Is anything significant on your 13th birthday?
You know what, Darius? For you say 13, but for my birthdays, my mother would make me a pound cake, homemade, every year.
Wow. I had a
Every
pound cake maker too. We call her Mama. Miss Frances Harris used to make me a lemon pound cake, lemon glazed pound cake, and it was so good. Mm.
Well, I may not be able to compete with her, but I do make pound cakes myself. But my mother
Okay.
would make me a homemade pound cake. That was my request every year. And my birthday falls on December the 16th, which is very close to Christmas. So, what is significant about my birthday is my parents never combined the two. My gifts never rolled over. Oh, this is your birthday gift, which is close to Christmas. It was always separated.
No doubt, no doubt. So this gentleman, um, he literally created generational wealth by purchasing Mr. Shabazz, brought his 13-year-old daughter a home. He bought her a house and put it in her name at 13 years old. He said, "This marks the beginning of a family tradition where every Shabazz will be gifted a house on their 13th birthday and taught to build into multiple properties before they are legal adults. He made the purchase to stop and break the cycle of poverty and create financial independence in his community." So shout out to Mr. Shabazz. I mean, think about that. Instead of spending money, and right now, just thinking in some places you can buy in Detroit, Baltimore City, some rural areas, you can buy a piece of property, $10,000. Things that people are buying, children cars and things that brand new cars that devalue immediately. This brother went out and brought his daughter a house at 13. And he said from now on, all Shabazz will have houses at 13 years old. So that's a big story. One of our positive news stories. Another positive news story is we want to give a big round of applause and congratulations to Coach Dawn Staley. She coached the USA women's basketball team. She is the head coach for South Carolina University, and she just landed the largest contract for a black female head coach with a $22.4 million contract at South Carolina University. So congratulations to Dawn Staley. Was a dynamic player and in college as well as in the pros, and coached for the USA team, women's team. And now, as the South Carolina head coach, she will continue on, and she is going to make $22.4 million over 7 years. So congratulations to her, and good to see us starting to be bold for good when it comes to women in sports and provide the equity that women deserve. So that I'm really excited about that. Really thank her for just taking a stand and making sure that people are out there knowing what's going on. So when you get a chance, push positive news, because there's so much negative news, so many negative things that are out there. So when you see that positive news story, like it, share it, send it out through as many channels as you possibly can, so we can keep the movement of positivity going. So now we want to take this opportunity to again welcome our queen, yes, who is Priscilla Monroe as Soul Check, and she is going to share with us a poem on Black men. And as we celebrate Black History Month, 365, 24/7, we definitely want to acknowledge, and she has a passion for the importance of lifting up Black men. And good morning to you, Queen Augustine Pendel. Thanks so much for joining us. So, Priscilla, the floor is yours.
Woo, woo. Thank you for giving me this floor. It's a special place to be on, and I say yes. So I'm super excited just because I know the energy that you have here through your show, Darius, and you are making things happen for the good of everyone, not just for yourself. Hence me being here. So I do have a poem. It's called "Phenomenal Men," and one day I was sitting just in my quiet space and just thinking about the things that was going on in the world. And this poem, I always say God gave it to me because he did. So he dropped it right down, and I couldn't grab my pen fast enough. So I started writing. So let me share it with you. It's called Phenomenal Men. Today is the day we say thank you, men. You are to be honored and saluted. Your skin tone is enough to make the winds shift. The strength in your voice is a mighty force not to be dismissed. Oh, the stride you walk leaves an impression, never to be duplicated. Many may wonder, how are you created so unique, only to be understood by your chemistry? Now, don't you worry and don't you ponder. You have not been forgotten or asunder. So every day you rise, know that you are mighty. You are needed now and forever. Walk tall, bold, and strong So when you enter the room, you will never be forgotten. It's not the words that you say, but it's your stance, pride, and swag that will never go away. So to all the men, I salute you. And thank you very much, Darius.
You know, I'm over here clicking. Love it, love it, love it. That is so beautiful. And thank you so much, Queen, for understanding the value, of our brothers. And, we are so grateful to have queens like yourself that are on the front line, working to make sure that we're healthy, making sure that we are in a really good position to be successful at taking care of our mental health, and really understand the value of checking our souls. So I definitely want you to tell us about Soul Check and what that represents, because we know that we're in a space and time where we have to, people often do what's called running after the bag, right? Running after the bag. And we don't want the bag running, because we understand that the value of who we are is really tied to the inside. And so we should be running after our souls, running to our souls, running to ourselves, and looking for the source. The soul is the source, not the bag. When we come back, I want you to talk to us about Soul Check. And then after that, we're going to have an interview played with a very powerful young man, Mr. Samuel Jordan, who's interviewing Miss Claudette Colvin. And, we really want her to be acknowledged. But coming up this weekend is something really special. Tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. will be the Game Changers Conference. The Game Changers Conference. That's right. It is the second district virtual youth leadership conference and family Game Changer Conference for the entire family, starting at 8:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's virtual. You just have to go to the GameChangerConference.org, the GameChangerConference.org, and register. There's a link there for the Zoom. You can register, and guess what? They have a dynamic speaker coming up. His name is none other than Mr. Anthony Anderson. And here's just a little information about the Game Changer Conference from the Q's, some brothers who are working in the community, Mr. Donald Williams and his partner. Here we go.
Form a one-day conference for our Black and Brown boys. And we are excited that you have joined us. The Game Changer Conference purpose is simply to create better young men. And we want to equip, we want to engage, we want to empower them to win the future.
And we're working with kids from the fourth grade up to seniors in high school. A lot of interactive skill sets we're going to go over, a lot of things they're going to learn. A 30-second interview, a firm handshake, eye-to-eye contact, how to tie a tie, relationships with men, women, females, males, parents, younger children, all those kind of things we're going to cover. Also, we have essay contests that we're going to do.
Take your right hand and over top. And then bring this one over top. Okay. And you want to take these two flaps, all right, and pull it up because you want to have this hole right here, right? And then all you got to do is bring it through this hole and then pull it, and you got your bow tie.
I feel that Game Changers is a game changer. When I first started going to Game Changers, I think that I was a lot more quiet than I am now. I think I was a lot more shy. I wasn't as willing to talk to people, to introduce myself, to put myself out there in order to seek opportunity and to get opportunity.
Listen, this is something that you absolutely need to be a part of.
I would recommend it to all my friends. I think it's a great experience.
The life skill stations from changing a tire to changing a tie. That's what these boys are learning. When they come through a session like mine, learning how to think like a man even though they look like a boy, teaches things like integrity, teaches things like investing in yourself, teaches things like taking the initiative. One thing that we have in our community is many men out there who look like men but are thinking like boys. we have to start to change that trend.
As a black man, they teach you how to handle yourself with the police. They also teach you how to act when you're at an interview, how to present yourself all the time.
So for the parents, I want to tell them that this life we're in, pandemic or no pandemic, is stressful. And the best way to reduce that amount of stress that you have as part of the parenting process is to come to the parenting workshop.
We have various components that you check your fluids on. That's your windshield washer fluid. That's your oil dipstick. We have another dipstick down here called transmission fluid.
There are some kids that don't have fathers, and there's some things that they won't learn from only being around their mom that they would learn going to the Game Changers Conference. Game Changers will get you prepared. It gets you prepared for the real world.
But thank you for your backing and support. Be a game changer.
All right, all right. Yes, indeed. That is the Game Changer Conference, that is going to be tomorrow with Anthony Anderson going to be the Blackish Star is their guest speaker, so the keynote speaker. But it's free conference, virtual, online, being sponsored by the Qs and a number of other organizations in Montgomery County. And because of COVID, they're going to do it virtually. But you can, you can't beat that, just to be able to get those types of skills and have that type of leadership development. So make sure you check it out. And it's going to be a great event. So again, Soul Check. Priscilla Monroe is with us today. She'll be joining us once a month, the last Friday of every month, Funky Friday, with a poem and something fresh to check your soul. So tell us about Soul Check. And then Priscilla, please tell us, give us our soul check for the day.
Yeah, so let me tell you about Soul Check. I'm going to I have permissions from my daughters to actually talk about this. When you're raising teenagers and you talk about their lives or going to show pictures, it is important to get permission from them versus just posting or saying, because at that point, age 13, mine are age 13 and 15, you have two little people that you want to be verbal. You want to have an opinion about what's going on in their life. So it can be a conversation versus a dictatorship. So, and good morning, Jackie. Good morning. Good to see you on here and the other guest. So Darius, Soul Check came at a time in my life when I had to make the hardest decision today. And that decision was I was going through a divorce. And I intentionally prepared myself for the divorce. When I say intentionally, what that means is I had a conversation. I didn't just walk out. It was a conversation about what wasn't working, what needed to work. So the final decision was on me, and I made the decision to end my marriage. But before I did, the girls and I, we started therapy, myself as well as the girls. So before my first therapy appointment, I was just sitting in my quiet space, and I got up, went to the mirror, and I looked in the mirror, and I did not like what my eyes was telling me at that particular time. So I looked in my eyes, looked at myself in the mirror, and I started having a conversation. And I had to check my soul. How are you feeling is what I started asking myself. What does the sadness in your eyes represent? So from then, I just started doing soul checks, making sure that I was asking myself some challenging questions, even while in the process of moving through what I was going through. So from there, I started writing down the message that I heard myself saying to myself. You can make it. You can do this. You are beautiful. You are unique. You are gorgeous. All those things that I needed to hear I started writing it down. And one day I just sat down at my computer and I just started putting it on paper, well, typing it. And I put it into a Google document. And months later, long story short, I ended up at Kingdom Cafe, which is no longer in existence, but it was through Kingdom Celebration Church, which is where I am a member of. So I walked into the cafe. Someone, of course, introduced me to who is, of course, the most beautiful pastor in the world, Pastor Barbara Palmer. And I began to tell her about my journey. And I said, I have some quotes and I want to put it in a book. And she said, well, my husband is a book author, a book publisher, excuse me, and he will be happy to help you. So from there, Darius, my journey to finding the church that I go to, Kingdom Celebration, who I have the most dynamic pastors, community servants, and what we call him Bishop Antonio Palmer, who is my pastor, his wife, Pastor Barbara Palmer. They became my family, and they're still my family. So he published my book, which was from the actual quotes that I started just kind of downloading in my spirit. I operate by the spirit. So I just started downloading those quotes in my spirit. If you give me one quick second, I didn't have it in my lap, but hold on one second.
Gotta love live. That's right.
You gotta love live.
That's right.
You gotta love live. So here's the book.
Soul check. Got it.
I know
Okay. That's it.
This is it. This is it. And it's a small, I wanted it small so it can fit in my purse and also fit in my hand, Darius, because I was very strategic on the size of it for the purpose of it. I wanted it to be able to fit into my purse, fit into my backpack, fit into my children's backpack so they could carry it with them to school or wherever they were going. And so from the book, I started doing speaking seminars. And I started doing vision boards. So I do vision boards to mentor youth. We sit down and we do vision boards, and the vision boards are based on, of course, me talking to them and the quotes that are in the book. Be yourself. You are inspiration. Even things like the shape of your mouth is stupendous. You have leadership skills. Step up your game. You got this. You are a trendsetter. Overpower the small negative voice. Be a mystery. It's okay. You are exceptional. You are supreme. You are terrific. Laugh out loud. Be unapologetically you. Change what needs to be changed. One of my favorites is giggle. That came from my grandmother who left this earth at 95, but she was always a ball of laughter. Every time I called her, she would start off with laughing, but the laughing was her way of pouring love on us. And then she would say the nickname that she gave her many, many grandchildren. So that is
what was the name of that poem?
The poem?
Well, yeah, that writing about that was inspired by your grandmother?
Giggle.
Giggle. Yeah. Can we hear a little bit of giggle?
Well, it's actually not a poem, Darius, but it's a quote in the book.
Okay.
Book.
Let's hear the quote.
It just says giggle. And from giggle, when I talk to the youth or whomever I'm in front of, because I also speak to domestic violence organizations, when you say the word giggle, there is something that sparks in you that brings back some type of incident, and I mean a positive incident. There is something that will make you think about in history or made you laugh. What is it that made you laugh? I always think about my grandmother when I hear the word giggle, because she always made us giggle. So, and you just gave me an inspiration. I don't have a poem on the title Giggle, but guess what? I'm going to work on that.
I know that's right.
That's why connections are so important, because I never thought about creating poems from my quotes, but Darius A. Stanton just landed that in my lap.
Hey, just let me write the full words so I can talk about your brilliance
And you absolutely can.
there you go. So we got that project rolling.
We got that project. So
Well,
take it
thank
away.
you so much for sharing Soul Check, and we look forward to hearing those quotes on a monthly basis and part of your poems. Definitely want to, congratulate the work that the Palmers are doing because Bishop and Lady Palmer are doing fantastic work in our community, and I'm so glad that we're partners as well. Speaking of great work in our community, we're going to bring an interview to you. We talked about it earlier in the show about Miss Claudette Colvin. You heard about just the legendary civic right icon in Alabama, Rosa Parks. But this queen was the one who actually started the boycott and was the impetus behind it. A 15-year-old Miss Claudette Colvin, and Miss Colvin was not chosen because she didn't look the part, and so she was not chosen to represent the boycott. But at 15 years old, the bus driver asked her to leave and get out of her seat. She refused, and she said, because it's my constitutional right. And he stopped the police officer. The police officer got on the bus. He said, oh, that thing? And apparently he had dealt with her before. And he said, I ain't fooling with her, and got off the bus. So the bus driver, infuriated, drives a little further and stops two police officers at another squad car. And they get on the bus, assault the young lady, put handcuffs on her, and take her off the bus. She refused to give up her seat and screamed all the way out that you're violating my constitutional rights. She knew the law at 15 years old. And that's what actually started the civil rights boycott, and the movement was Miss Claudette Colvin. So when we come back after this brief commercial from one of our partners, Pushing Good News, Life Magazine, you're going to hear an interview with Claudette Colvin and Mr. Samuel Jordan from the Baltimore Transit Authority Commission. All right, we thank the Life Magazine for pushing good news. They're going to be doing a story on one of our partners, actually, for, I believe, their March issue. Maybe in May. It's coming at their spring issue. And that is going to be none other than Arnetta Rogers of My BMF Solutions. So congratulations, Arnetta. And thank you to Gerald Anderson and the whole Life family, Lala Hadia and that whole crew, for the work that you're doing in the community to push positive news. And now, this is a segment.
Public transportation.
From Ms. Claudette Colvin.
Ms. Colvin, greetings and thank you.
You're welcome.
We'd like to have a conversation, but about a number of things that, in fact, have been requested, asked, and are of still great interest by thousands of people who want to know how this day came to be the 64th anniversary of the victory in Montgomery. So let me begin with the conversation. I have a few questions. Even though you weren't presented as the face of the boycott, it's still reported that you nevertheless inspired Mrs. Rosa Parks and inspired the other leaders in the Black community to take action. They had been deliberating about a boycott for several years, but they didn't take action until you took action.
You know what the reporters said? All the reporters that I talked to, and I talked to several, and they said that I was the spark that ignited the fire that led to the Montgomery bus boycott. I was the spark, they said.
The news articles indicated that you were arrested, charged with assault and battery, disorderly conduct, and that you violated a city ordinance that made it unlawful for any passenger to fail or refuse to take those seats assigned to the race to which they belong. And after your trial, you were declared a ward of the state and placed on indefinite probation pending good behavior. The article went on to say that you accepted the court's ruling with the same cool aloofness that you had maintained throughout the 2.5-hour hearing. And your influence on mass unified action with solidarity has not waned in 64 years. But you moved soon to New York. Can you talk about why you moved from Montgomery?
Well, it's a long story, but to make it short, I wasn't able to get a job after my identity became known. And the employees, they would say, "Oh, you're the girl in the bus thing." And that's what the workers said. My coworkers said. And then the employer would fire me. So I couldn't get work. So therefore I moved to New York.
You know, I joined you at the returning to Alabama events in the Bronx last year. We got a chance to speak together, but I noticed also that in recent years, the demand for more articles, stories, images of Claudette Colvin have continued to grow. Why do you think interest in your case and your story is increasing?
Oh, I think when historians research the civil rights movement, they want to know whatever happened to the 4 women in the Browder v. Gale case. And so I think that's why my story surfaced. And because I was discovered by a writer named Phil Holmes, and he did my story, and he named it Twice Towards Justice. The first, he said, was an impulsive act that ignited the Montgomery bus boycott. And the second was a concrete act that led to the Browder v. Gale case, and the case that went all the way to the Supreme Court and desegregated the Montgomery city buses.
Wow, did you know that story, Priscilla?
I did not.
Isn't that a
And
fascinating story?
it is a very fascinating story. So I see you put the information in the clip. I am going to copy that and make sure that's that is actually part of my history that I share with my children. I did not.
No doubt. And so, thank you to Mr. Samuel Jordan for sharing that and the work that the Baltimore Transit Coalition is working towards. There, if you're interested, look up Samuel Jordan and the Baltimore Transit Coalition. They're focused on making sure that the red line is reestablished. Was established. It was pulled off the docket. The $900 million was returned to the federal government by the governor, current governor, who's Hogan. This transit move with the red line would have allowed the red line to connect people to jobs, people to shopping, as well as to be able to put people in a better space with regard to housing. And they just cut it. They had $900 million set up to establish this. And transit and transportation is so key. One of the things I want to share with you, as a matter of fact, that I learned yesterday from Mr. Jordan, Baltimore City has a very high rate of youth with asthma. And I believe the percentage is almost 40%. Can you imagine? But one of the reasons is there's a element that comes out of exhaust pipes, and children are at the bus level. They're at the exhaust pipe level. And so they're directly breathing in this element that is literally cutting their lungs. 40% of the children in Baltimore City with asthma. That, I mean, and so when we talk about health challenges, and we're concerned definitely about COI, VID, please don't lose sight on, the things that have been plaguing us for the last 20 years that do not get the attention needed. Don't wait on the government to force you to do something about your health. Our health is our wealth. And that's why we have the Soul Check founder, Miss Priscilla Monroe, with us today. DJ Five Star is not able to join us. And our good brother, Robert Johnson, we want to just give him a shout out, an acknowledgement rather. He completed his 100-day fast that he started as a result of supporting the John Lewis Voting Rights Act that did not pass in Congress. And as a result of it, the voting rights of African Americans are still left in jeopardy. And in 2021, 2022, this is still the case. So, I wanted to acknowledge Brother Johnson for his work and his leadership in all the endeavors in making sure that our community has the right, just human decency. That's all we're asking. And why it is that people would want to block something as simple as an opportunity to, as the young lady said, Miss Colvin, uphold her right as a human, let alone in the Constitution. So for DJ Five Star, good Queen Priscilla Monroe, who you'll see probably in about 4 weeks from now, if not sooner. We're working to get her sooner, but she's a busy lady, okay? But we definitely appreciate her being here. Queen, you want to give them something before you roll out? Just a little peace and love from the Queen.
I have to give you one last piece of love. And Darius, let me share this with you as we were talking about health. The other day, you and I had a quick conversation, and I asked you, what are you going to get done today? And I leave you with, what are you going to get done today? You can follow me at PriscillaMonroe.com. I will be doing a 100-mile bike ride the first week in October. And one of the companies that I'm going to represent is Peace in the Morning Show. So come out, sponsor me. I'm going to have a t-shirt with all the people that sponsor me. So that's one of the most important things that I'm doing one of them in the future. So Darius, again, thank you for your hard work. And I'm looking forward to what we're going to combine together for the good. But yes, and you can join me on that 100-mile bike ride. It's open.
I love it. I love it. You gotta get. I gotta get it together for that. I'm gonna be ready to rock and roll. I joined that brother, so I can join you too. If I can join him, I can join. I can join you as well, Queen, on the 100 bike ride. And we're gonna get ready to make it move, do what it do. That's the music of Queen Aya Sudabay, Earth Blessings, Royal Court Orchestra, my mom. Next month is International Women's Month, so we're gonna be focusing on women all month long. And the Queen will be back next month as well. Also, DJ Five Star will be with us. We want to give an acknowledgement to our good brother Kenneth Clark. Power to the people, brother. Thank you for the work you're doing in the community. And for our communities in Annapolis, Maryland that are hurting right now, just know that love is there, and we're going to make it. We're going to make it. We're going to get our arms wrapped around our young people and love them up. Listen to the song.
Does not judge another man's mistakes, and the patient man is always willing to wait. Forbearance causes self-possession to work. And a kind man, he never knows how to hurt.
These are the virtues.
You want for me. This is the way that I live. These are the things that I see. My mama, she told me, she said, blow
All right, Queen. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Darius A. Stanton with the Piece of the Morning Show with the Queen Priscilla Monroe. Thanks everybody for joining us today. And make sure that you go out and make Black history today. Make Black history today. That's right. Peace in the morning.